So I was giving this documentary praises in my last video, not too many, but a few praises. So now I'm gonna slowly start to tear it down, give a bit of a critique on academia, or whatever they claim to be. I don't know, but they've just erased, like they're changing history as we speak again. And that's something we're going to talk about in this, or I'm going to talk about. At the moment. So, I'm going to go over a bit of historical cover-ups and fabrications and how things slowly get twisted into old wives' tales until it's like no one knows what the hell's going on. So I thought this popped up. I don't know how long it's been out there. Seems to be only like less than a week on YouTube. So I thought, yeah, jump on that. Yeah, so it's not Lisa Gioconda, Gioconda, which I've already stated, and yeah, the original Mona Lisa that was apparently where they got the idea was I think a guy called Vasari, in one of his notebooks made a note of his commission to Francesco Gioconda, the wealthy merchant and husband to Lisa. So they've completely disconnected the original Lisa from this, and that's fair enough because so recently it appeared that he had the painting with him his whole life and reworked it. Other x-rays have showed that it looked like to be other layers there, but all of a sudden now in this latest documentary, bam, out of nowhere, yeah, it's a recent piece done at the end of his life, while I was staying with the Medicis at the Vatican, actually. So, yeah, there was this little kid called Apollo or something, and he had no mother. And like as soon as I heard this, I thought, oh, the symbolist movement. Like originally, it was like some feminine symbolist movement made it popular, and yeah, that's great. That's all, it's art. If you want to use it as art, for sure. Because in a way that's what it's supposed to be. It was for a kid who had in need of a mother, when they made the documentary all sappy and stuff. Oh, he was like Da Vinci, had no, he was an illegitimate child and like for a family, I don't know, whatever. Trying to possibly get away from the point here. So my point is, the child required a picture for his room that was the ideal mother. So Da Vinci takes this a step further. He usually takes these opportunities to encode his science, and when it does, it always fits in with every other piece. So we know this is one of those pieces because we got the rocky outcrops from the south of France, from the stories of those biblical times, and the same with the virgin of the rocks that's set amongst like the rocky outcrops, like the south of France, where Jesus was apparently. But I through this research here, I show how I disprove that. Yeah. And and more than anything, he's just using the characters to tell his own story. Show how this, like, with only certain identifiable traits, is Da Vinci is describing genetic degradation over time, genetic drift, yeah, how like a divine bloodline would still be subject to all these things within the gene pool and through time. So he, through even Da Vinci's own observations, he kind of disproves that, and he kind of shows us through this division, and again we'll spot the difference, which is a Egyptian technique. You can see it in other cultures, like, yeah, two sides. But okay, where are we going with this? Oh, just as an example, I guess, like, yeah, this divide here we've been using to analyze those sort of things. So you got, like, had that mystery of the floating hand, like originally it was attached to the character, and because it's been reworked over time, it appeared to be just a random floating hand, and yeah, things like that get people get caught up in. But so I was following the lines of facial recognition structures, and so when you look at someone, like, I think certain people like micro expressions. Okay, I'll use that as an example, like micro expressions. Like, I think as a keen observer, Da Vinci was able to perceive, like, a familiar structure in a large group of people, say, that we might not see, like a certain familiarity. And I think the sense of deja vu, even in the original, like, Mona Lisa, that was unfinished and lost eventually. So yeah, like that original meeting, like he wanted to encode something when he couldn't fully, completely and holistically put the concept and fit it with all the others into the scientific models and the systems he was studying. He pretty much left it unfinished. And he would just stare at paintings for like hours and hours and hours and hours, and just do nothing, just looking, and people going, "What the hell are you doing?" Like, it's all sort of part of his genius, but that's, from what I can see, that's exactly what he was doing, mostly. So what else we got here? If I have to pull out any more pictures, I'll probably just do another video. So it's interesting, they've like used the same conclusion, like the ideal. So they concluded like, to me the documentary was an anticlimax. They brought it into okay, I was a mother, now, you know, I've got from a feminine symbol, just, you know, specifically a mother symbol. Yeah, it's more than that. There's a science of perception encoded, and just like I've talked about in the last video as well, the sense of deja vu, when one structure's the same as another one but things are slightly different, you get a sense of familiarity, and that can probably transfer to different perceptions in the mind too. Something he was analysing, and I believe that at the end he finally did complete that, and was able to pass this message on. Like, I think modern science only just recently, maybe in the last 5 years, probably catching on to, were like pinned down a little bit, like got a sense of what deja vu could be about. But there's deeper levels to these things, but try and keep it basic for now. Like, Yeah, this stuff does go to a lot of different levels like that. So I think I've explained everything, and yeah, just where they wanted to take it. They're trying to disconnect from the original, because even that person, even her line could be relevant to, like, I know even the Germans in World War II, when they were going on their crazy, like, sprees around the world, they were studying everyone's faces, different races, facial structures, like, yeah. So I think Da Vinci, in a sense, he wanted to compete with, bring something like, spark a bit more progress. It was that age in that time, but yeah, like, just to keep up with what's already out there, and invent a few helicopters. I don't know. I think it looks like a lot of stuff came from his research. Excuse me, I seem to have the hiccups now, so it's getting a bit out of control. So like, as a mother, I think, like, I put my perspective down, like Queen of the Damned. it's a bit rough, but really, like, more than a symbolic mother thing, it's, once again, it's a science there. There is. He was a scientist, and there's things involved there. It's usually more than one thing when you're looking at it. He said, like, if you don't even know maths, he goes, don't bother looking at what he's doing. And it was encoded, used mirror writing, and so it's definitely, no bullshit. But what they try and pump is just like, they slowly warp everything out, and anyway, so I thought I'd just, throw in my 2 cents on that.